Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please all rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amanda, will you call the roll?
Trustee Messick?
Here.
Trustee Sheehan?
Here.
Trustee Casera?
Here.
Trustee Waldner?
Here.
Trustee Zora? Here. President DeCipio?
Here.
Quorum is present, sir.
Thank you, Amanda. Moving on, public participation of agenda-related items only. If anyone would care to step up to the mic and introduce yourself. Mr. Ennis, did you want to say anything tonight?
I did, but I did not on the consent agenda.
No, it's agenda-related items.
Well, maybe I can give board permission, since you're the only one really wanted to speak, that well, at the end of the meeting, we have a non-agenda related item, public participation. Maybe instead of having Mr. Adams wait through the whole meeting, we could move that up. If that's okay with the board.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay. We're going to end our meeting right after you.
I voted for your $10 million vote.
Can I ask you to make the only because you're being televised and they want to hear what you have to say too? Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
Right over here
Oh, there's no microphone over there.
at the podium.
Oh, pardon me.
That's okay.
My name is David Raditz. I live at 30 Stonegate Road, Grange Park, Illinois. I've been a resident here for 59 years. Many years ago, I was a trustee here in the village, and during that tenure, we bought some new trucks, and they all have center mount plows. Now, Ray Staley talked about it, and so does Paul Flood know about it. All of our streets are tapered from side to side to take the water away. Now, I voted for your $10 million bond issue, but if we're going to scrape a year or two's wear off of all these streets right after we use it, I mean, I think that's defeating the problem of trying to get all our streets back together. Now, you said that you don't have any money set aside, but I can't see how you can use these center mount plows. When I was on the board, it was a 3-to-3 tie, and our, at that time, village president said, we gotta give Julius what he wanted. Well, he got what he wanted, and Brendan wound up having to use these trucks, but I think that someplace along the line, if you could fit two of your newer trucks with front-mounted plows, the village is going to be way ahead. I mean, this is the thing that disturbs me. I don't care about. I mean, I'll be paying a lot more than a lot of people here because we live in Sherwood Village, and I don't mind paying my share for the roads as long as we can take care of it. And I mean, I've discussed it with a couple of the trustees at times, and I know times are tough for the village. There's no question about it. It's tough times for any village right now because of what's going on down in the state of Illinois. But I think someplace you're going to have to dig in and think about even going out and getting a proposal to how much these are going to cost to put on, and go ahead and do it, because as we replace these streets and we start running the center plows over them again on the asphalt streets, Ray Staley said to me when we redid Harding and all the streets when we put the sewers in, he said, are you sleeping at the switch? We already took 2 years' wear off the street this last winter. And Julia said, well, we'll seal coat the things. Now, if you go back and look at the books, we never seal coated a street in this town, but just to cover up his mistake, we seal coated Harding and all the other streets where the sewers ran. And as a concerned citizen that had been on the board here, I think it's something you gentlemen should think about and put someplace in the agenda that you could get something by for a snowstorm. Thank you very much for giving me this time, and thank you for letting me sit down and do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. This is an issue that will continually be brought up, Mr. Adams. Our public director's not here, public works director's not here with us tonight, but Trustee Sheehan has brought it up again, and I'm sure the board will be entertaining questions and listening to what's going on. I agree with you. We don't want to do any damage to the streets when we've got it. Let's do the right thing. So Trustee Sheehan brought it up. We'll address it again down the road.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Okay, moving on. Consent agenda. Amanda?
The items on this evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes, village board meeting, June 28th, 2016. Village board executive session, June 28th, 2016. Work session meeting, June 12th, 2016. Village board executive session, July 12th, 2016. B, action prevailing wage rate. Motion, adopt an ordinance ascertaining prevailing wage rates for construction work in Cook County. C, action zoning application number 2016-02, 218 31st Street. Motion, approve an ordinance granting a certain variation for 218 East 31st Street, Grange Park, Illinois. Public hearing number 2016-02. D, action sale of surplus vehicle. Motion approving an ordinance authorizing the sale of surplus property owned by the Village of LaGrange Park. E, action purchase of 2017 Ford Utility Police Interceptor all-wheel drive. Motion to purchase one 2017 Ford Utility Police Interceptor AWD vehicle through the Suburban Purchasing Cooperative Program from Joe Rizaford in a not to exceed amount of $34,000 to be expensed to the FY 2017 Capital Projects Fund. Action Fire Station number 1 painting. Motion to authorize acceptance of the proposal for Fire Station number 1 painting from Gary's Painting and Decorating for the total cost of $12,600, $10,300 for labor, and $2,300. G, action LTTV E9 equipment upgrades. Motion to authorize expenditures for the upgrade to existing 911 telephone call processing equipment for the Lyons Township Area Communications Center, serving the villages of LaGrange Park, LaGrange, and Western Springs at a cost not to exceed $52,549, and authorize the village manager to execute any necessary and related agreements. H, action consolidated dispatch, LTAC construction project. Motion to authorize expenditures for construction of a renovated dispatch center for the Lyons Township Area Communications Center, serving the villages of LaGrange Park, LaGrange, and Western Springs at a cost not to exceed $114,354, and authorize the village manager to execute any necessary and related agreements subject to final legal review. I, action authorization for purchase of LaGrange Road streetlights. Motion to approve expenditure for purchase of 2 streetlights, complete set pole arms and lamp fixture, and 2 extra arms and lamp fixtures from Gex Pro in the amount of $14,208.50. J, action 2016 sidewalk and curb gutter replacement project. Motion accept bid proposal from the lowest responsible bidder, Globe Construction, authorize spending an amount not to exceed $19,500, and authorize the village manager to execute all necessary contract documents. K, resolution amending the 2016-2017 pay plan. Motion to approve a resolution amending pay plan and schedule of authorized positions for FY 2016-2017. L, action PMA account applications and agreement. Motion to approve updated applications and agreements with PMA Financial Network and PMA Securities, and authorize the finance director to sign the documents. Action motion to authorize the president and chairperson of the finance committee to sign the register for bills, and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. And action, motion to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and August 23rd, 2016, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its regular meeting to be held on August 23rd, 2016.
A motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Amanda. Moving on to village manager's report. Julia?
Mr. President, I have no report for this evening.
Administration Committee, Trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this evening I do have a few items to report upon. First of all is regarding the upcoming National Night Out. Our LaGrange Park Police Department and Crime Prevention Unit and Fire Department will host the 2016 National Night Out evening on Tuesday, August 2nd at Memorial Park. Festivities will begin at 7 p.m. and include child safety seat inspections, food, and entertainment. The police department is currently looking for volunteers to assist with this event. If you are interested in volunteering, please contact the village at 708-352-7711 at extension 203 or email arackow@lagrangepark.org. An organizational meeting for volunteers will be held on July 27th at 7 p.m. in the Village Hall Community Room. The second item is the deadline for the mandatory downspout disconnection program has been extended. The village's downspout disconnection ordinance requires that all single-family home owners to disconnect their downspouts from the village's combined sewer system. The village's downspout disconnection program was put into place in 2015 to provide residents with partial reimbursement for the cost associated with the disconnection through an Illinois Green Infrastructure Grant referred to as IGIG. Due to the state of the Illinois budgetary issues, the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency was unable to issue reimbursements for downspout disconnections under the IGIG program. As a result, the village has extended the deadline for compliance with our downspout disconnection ordinance from January 2017 now to January 2019, in anticipation that the grant funds for reimbursement will once again become available. For more information on how to disconnect and questions regarding the reimbursement process, please contact Forrest Tucker at 708-354-0225 or visit the village website at www.lagrangepark.org. And the last item is regarding our very successful community e-briefs program. And the village would like to encourage residents to stay connected with what is happening in LaGrange Park by signing up for our community e-briefs, our weekly electronic newsletter that is emailed out to on each Friday. At this time, the village has nearly 2,000 subscribers. Residents may sign up for e-briefs by going to the homepage for our village at the website www.lagrangepark.org. And that concludes my report this evening from the administration area, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Moving on to Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Zora.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items to report on. 118 building permits were issued in June compared to 102 last June. Estimated construction costs for the month were nearly doubled compared to that of last June. Most permits, mostly due to 3 permits issued for additions in June. Permit fees collected for the month were more than double compared to last June. 182 inspections were conducted in June compared to 230 last June. 16 were not approved. Overall inspections for the year were down by 23. During the month, much research was conducted in regards to positions, salaries, titles, and working on finalizing the job description and position announcement for the open position in the building department. After much review and consideration, the position announcement was subsequently released in July, and applications are due by 5 p.m. on July 29th. During the month, construction on 2 new homes were completed, one in the 300 block of North Kensington and one in the 500 block of North Catherine. Staff met with Hancock Engineering regarding site conditions at both, and we are waiting to issue final certificates of occupancy based upon some existing engineering issues being resolved. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Moving on to engineering capital projects, Trustee Casera.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one item to report on this evening. After being properly advertised and duly noticed, sealed bids were publicly opened by the village for the 2016 paving program on June 7th. A total of 8 companies submitted documents. The village board discussed the contract award process in detail at their June 14th work session meeting. On June 28th, the village board awarded a construction contract to the low responsible bidder, GA Paving. The project schedule for the work anticipates starting on the west side of Brainerd Avenue July 5th. GA Paving will be working on the streets from west side of the village to the east side. The paving portion of the work should be completed by mid-November, with final restoration completed shortly thereafter. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Casera. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Messick.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll start with police department activities for the month of June 2016. The total number of crimes reported is slightly higher than last year, with 136 to date compared to 112 last year during the same time frame. Overall, police services and assistance is very similar to last year, with 138 incidents reported through June of 2016, as compared to 3150 through May of 2015. Traffic enforcement by all patrol ships remains higher than June of 2016, with 3,345 total tickets written compared to 2,978 during the same time frame of last year. Officer Stephanie Christopherson has put in a letter of resignation to the department. Her last day on the street was Wednesday, July 20th. Stephanie would like to primarily focus on being a mother to her 3-year-old daughter, Mia. We wish her and the family the very best. The police department would like to personally thank all the residents and business owners of the Grange Park that have taken time, especially over the last few weeks, to let us know how appreciative they are for the quality service they receive on a daily basis from the department. Again, from all members of the police department, we say thank you very much for all the positive support. Friendly reminder to go back to the administration committee report, National Night Out next Tuesday, August 2nd at 7 p.m. at Memorial Park, and coffee with the Chief of Police Staff to be held on Thursday, August 18th at 7 p.m. in Plymouth Place. Also, I said I'd like to personally thank the police for their work in this climate. I know it can be difficult, but to continue to carry on, and I'm glad to see great community support for it. And one reminder for the residents, some of the most common crimes we have here are crimes of opportunity. So remember to lock your cars and lock your doors on your house at all times. And that concludes the police report. On to the fire department activities for the month of June 2016. EMS responses for this month were 143. There have been 841 year-to-date compared to 868 year-to-date in 2015. Fire rescue incidents this month were 40, and there have been 224 year-to-date compared to 236 last year. Staff met with 3 vendors representing 4 different manufacturers of ladder trucks. Also, staff met with 3 different ambulance vendors and assessed their manufacturers' demo models. Personnel participated in the pet parade with the ladder truck. We also staffed additional personnel at Fire Station Number 1 to assist LaGrange with any calls north of the BNSF during the parade. PSSI shift paramedic firefighter John Dietrich was promoted to field operation managers for PSSI. As such, we conducted interviews of potential new employees. Paramedic firefighter Christian Platt was offered and accepted the position and began working this month. We welcome him to our department. On June 23rd, personnel participated in providing a reception for the Wounded Warriors Project Soldier Ride. Our ladder truck was raised over 31st Street just west of Maple, welcoming participants. Much work related to LTAC took place this month, including training on building the new computer-aided dispatch system, meetings with Tyco/ADT regarding fire alarm, receiving operations and contracts, and meeting with a vendor regarding mobile data terminals for fire apparatus. There were multiple calls and responses during the month, and that concludes the fire department activities. There are no action items.
Thank you, Trustee Messick. Public Works Committee, Trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following is the monthly report for June. Brush pickup took place the first full week in June. 123 day shift hours were spent making several passes through town, removing approximately 245 yards of brush from the parkways. 57 hours were spent making several deliveries of mulch to residents and also placing mulch along 31st Street. The sweeper spent 46 hours cleaning over 118 village street miles and picked up 30 yards of debris. 147 hours were spent on the maintenance of public works equipment and vehicles. 87 and a half hours were spent on building and ground maintenance around the public works facility, the village hall, and along 31st Street. 161 and a half hours were spent on the planting of 6 trees and removal of 14 trees, trimming work, orders, and tree inspections. Work orders were completed with crews removing roadkill, picking up brush, repairing parkways, and making sign repair. Numerous maintenance was performed on different vehicles for the village. Water department operations over 318 and a half day shift hours and 14.25 overtime man hours during the month of June were spent on maintenance and repair of water and sewer mains. 32,700,000 gallons of water were purchased from the Brookfield North Riverside Water Commission. 1,339 water meters were read in Section 3. 52 monthly accounts and 19 final meter readings were taken. Various inspections, appointments, and service calls were performed. 15 water bacterial samples were taken. All samples passed. 163 utility locations were identified prior to excavations. 3 Buffalo box valve repairs were made. 2 service repairs were made. 1 hydrant modification kit was installed. 3 hydrant repairs were made. And also, Mr. President, at this time, I'd like to thank our great Public Works Department for their response last night on the 1100 block of Meadowcrest for a water main break. The feedback I got this morning and this afternoon from the residents where our guys were very professional. I commented on, to a couple friends on the block this morning after seeing the finished product that they were very neat and no chance for anybody getting hurt. So I commend, I don't know who else was out there, but I did see Gary and John. So please pass that along to Brendan.
Thank
And
you.
that concludes my report tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you for those comments, Trustee Sheehan, and thank you for your report. Finance Committee, Trustee Racco. He's not here. So Trustee Kucera?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a number of items to report on this evening. This memo summarizes the village's general fund financial performance through June 30th, 2016. We completed 2 months, or approximately 17% of fiscal year 2017, which began May 1st and runs through April 30th, 2017. The detailed revenue and expense report and monthly cash and investment dashboard are also attached for our review. Please note that the cash and investment dashboard now includes an additional section for the 2016 bond funds. Highlights. Fiscal year-to-date general fund revenue is at 11% of the annual budget. Revenues are approximately $36,000 less than last year at this time, primarily due to a drop in income tax receipts. Sales tax receipts are at 9% greater than last year. However, July receipts are down significantly, so it's likely that the timing of collection is causing much of the variance. Permit revenue is higher than last year by approximately $28,000 due to an increase in alteration and addition permits. Intergovernment revenue is 18% lower than last year due to decreased receipts from income tax and personal property replacement tax. A drop in income tax revenue was expected because of last year's receipts included a one-time revenue due to federal and state legislation. PPRT is down due to adjustments made by the Illinois Department of Revenue following their discovery of an allocation error resulting in overpayments to local governments. PPRT receipts will most likely continue at a decreased level due to the overallocation adjustment and a $100 million diversion for education included in the state stopgap budget. Charges for services are about $12,500 lower than last year due to ambulance fees. Fine revenue is approximately 11% higher than the prior year. Transfers are higher compared to last year due to new transfer from the motor fuel tax fund to the general fund to support street operations. Last item, total general fund expenditures are within expectations of at 12% of the annual budget and about $16,000 higher compared to last year. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you for filling in such a short notice, Trustee Casera.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Commercial Revitalization Committee, Trustee Casera.
And thank you, Mr. President. Let me get there real quick. I have one item to report on this evening, Mr. President. Proud to talk about the ongoing TIF work, especially the work by our Assistant Village Manager, Emily Rodman. In June, the Village Board approved a contract with SB Friedman Development to engage their services for the implementation of 2 TIF districts and 4 business districts. Following that approval, SB Friedman began the required field work to verify eligibility of the areas. In July, SB Friedman completed their field work and began work on the first draft of the redevelopment project area plans required for both TIF districts. Can't talk anymore. I apologize. Required for both TIF districts. The Village Board also approved a letter of engagement with Kathleen Field-Orr and Associates to provide legal services related to the TIF and business district implementation. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Casera. Other reports, Village Clerk,
I have nothing to report, Mr. President.
our Village Treasurer,
Nothing further to report, Mr. President.
our Village Engineer,
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
our Village Attorney.
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
Okay, a motion to approve Committee and Collectors' reports.
So moved.
All
Second.
those in favor? Okay, I just have a couple things. First, I'd like to again recognize our past trustee, Dave Raditz. Welcome, Dave. It's nice seeing you here. I spoke with Julia and Emily's on board now, but if everybody's aware, next year is our 125th. It's actually July 15th, 14th, 14th, July is our birthday, July 14th. And so work is in progress. If you are asked what we are doing, refer them to Julie or Emily, and the board will be notified of every step of the way. So anybody has any ideas for Emily, certainly bring them forward. So that's exciting. I have one action item, the appointment to the Sustainability Committee. Consistent with the membership provision of the Sustainability Commission Charter document, the Sustainability Commission shall consist of 7 voting members, all of whom shall be appointed by the village president with the advice and consent of the village board. Today, there is one vacancy on the Sustainability Commission due to the resignation of Commissioner member Josh Samos back in 2015. The village must appoint a member to the commission with a term to expire on May 1st, 2019. I am recommending that Mr. Jeff Nee be appointed to serve the unexpired term. Mr. Nee has 8 years in environmental consulting, as well as an educational background in environmental engineering. The village has spoken to Mr. Nee regarding the work and the progress of the Sustainability Commission, and he is eager to dedicate his time in serving this advisory group. To the board, his application is attached for your review and consideration, and I'll entertain a motion.
Move to appoint Jeff Nee to the Sustainability Commission for a term to expire on May 1st, 2019.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Amanda, call the vote.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, board. Thank you, Amanda. And moving on, new business. Any new business by any board member? Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.